child embodies our ultimate vision, that every Filipino learner will realize their full potential and ultimately reach their biggest dreams, no matter how high, no matter how hard, through quality education. And as our learners aim to soar, we must continue to elevate our goals. Rising, the kite is our emblem of aspiration to deliver the brand of quality in Philippine basic education. The quadrants of the soaring kite symbolize the key reform areas in forwarding this cause, as we embark on this aggressive reform to yield upskilled teachers, well-developed curriculum, improved learning environment, and responsive multi-stakeholder cooperation. Using the colors of our flag, the logo symbolizes our unity and serves as a reminder that it takes a nation to educate a child. Together, we as a nation will have to move forward and gain more momentum so that our vision of quality basic education for all shall take flight. Sama-sama sa pagsulong ng edukalidad.
Well, hello, Mrs. Morgan. Remember how hard it was to get your students' attention? Oh, Mr. Jeski. Any explosive ideas? And you, Mr. Fisher, the world keeps turning, right? Okay, we're past all that, because now we have Microsoft Educator Center. Trainings, courses, webinars, programs, badges, points, certificates. Join now and get yourself ready for the new school year. Teach your best.
Nang sumiklab ang giyera sa Marawi, maraming buhay at kabuhayan ang nawala. Maraming kabahayan at paaralan ang napinsala. Sa kabila ng matinding suliranin, naging matagumpay ang DepEd na mabigyan ang mga mag-aaral ng pagkakataong ipagpatuloy ang edukasyon at muling bumangon sa sitwasyon. Habang naghihintay sa pagkumpuni at pagsasaayos ng mga paaralan, nagkaloob ang DepEd ng mga temporary learning shelters, remedial classes, learning kits, at feeding programs para sa mga displaced learners. Nabigla ang lahat sa pag-alboruto ng Bulkang Taal. Libo-libong pamilya, kabilang ang mga guro at mag-aaral, ang nawalan ng tirahan at mga ari-arian. Mabilis ang naging tugon ng DepEd upang makapagpatuloy sa pag-aaral ang mga apektadong mag-aaral. Sinikap ng mga guro na turuan ang mga mag-aaral na pansamantalang tumuloy sa evacuation center. Tumama sa bansa ang COVID-19 pandemic, dahilan upang maantala ang normal na daloy ng pamumuhay at trabaho sa lahat ng sektor, kabilang na ang kagawaran ng edukasyon. Nang ipatupad ang Luzon lockdown, inilunsad ang DepEd Commons upang tuloy ang pagkatuto ng mga learners habang nasa bahay. Sa kabila ng mabigat na hamon sa ilalim ng new normal, patuloy na nagpunyagi ang DepEd upang maghanap at maghatid ng mga alternatibong pamamaraan upang magpatuloy ang edukasyon sa pinakaligtas at pinakaangkop na paraan. Sa ilalim ng Learning Continuity Plan, layunin ng DepEd na magpatuloy ang edukasyon nang hindi nakokompromiso ang kapakanan at kalusugan ng mga guro at mag-aaral. Isusulong ng DepEd ang tatlong pangunahing layunin: angkop na proteksyon, kaugnay ng mga health standards at safety protocols para sa ligtas na school year, patuloy na edukasyon sa pamamagitan ng blended learning, distance learning at homeschooling na angkop sa kapasidad ng bawat mag-aaral, at mabisang aksyon sa pakikipagtulungan sa lokal na pamahalaan at mga partner organizations upang maihatid ang dekalidad na edukasyon para sa lahat. Bawat DepEd Division ay bumuo rin ng sarili nilang Learning Continuity Plan upang gabayan ang mga guro, mga magulang at mga mag-aaral sa bagong pamamaraan ng pag-aaral gamit ang online, modular at TV and radio-based instructions. Gamit ang iba't ibang learning modalities, nagdaos ng dry run ang mga paaralan sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa, katuwang ang mga local government units at mga education partners upang maging handa sa bagong sistema ng edukasyon. Isinagawa rin ang mga pagsasanay at oryentasyon sa mga magulang upang maging epektibong katuwang sa pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Sa anumang hamon o sitwasyon, handa ang DepEd. Handang kumilos, handang tumugon, at handang magserbisyo.
Ang dami ng mga pagsusubok at challenges ang naharap at napagtagumpayan ng ating Department of Education. Tuwing may pagsusubok, priority palagi natin ang ating learners at ang ating mga teachers sa tulong ng parents at saka partners at ang buong bansa. Ngayon, sa hinaharap natin itong new normal na sinasabi nila, matatag ang ating kagawaran, matatag ang DepEd dahil pinagtibay na tayo ng panahon. Kayang-kaya natin ito sa tulong ninyo.
G'day everyone, I'm Mark. As a teacher and a former principal, I know that professional learning often comes at the end of a very long day. But there are exciting, less structured ways to be in the driver's seat of your own lifelong learning. A great place to start is by engaging with our Microsoft Innovative Educator, or MIE community. This global community is big, in fact it's enormous. Our MIEs love connecting. Monthly tweet meets are global gatherings of inspiring educators around big topics, and their Facebook group acts as a persistent home for discussions and shared activities. Another way teachers are learning within communities is through Microsoft Teams. Now, greater teacher collaboration improves teaching across schools, and Teams is the ultimate platform for a professional learning community. It's open-walled and socially embedded, so you can incorporate your OneNote Staff Notebook PLC and have access to all the goodness of video chat, phone, and collaboration tools. With Immersive Reader built in, it's inclusive and accessible on any device. Your learning community is just a click away. Last tip, our Microsoft Education Centre offers great ways to gain new skills with courses tailored uniquely to your needs. Make it a collaborative experience by picking a MEC course to do together with your peers. And as a bonus, you can practice collaborative learning by exploring a research paper like the Class of 2030 and treat it just like a book club with your colleagues face-to-face or in Teams. The link to that research, it's in the description. Remember, learning is socially embedded. It's best done together for students and for teachers. Happy learning.
year 2020 brought new beginnings for the Department of Education. Ready to pivot towards attaining quality education, DepEd was hopeful of the challenges ahead of it. But as DepEd continued to work on its commitment, the world suddenly faced a steeper dilemma. Around the globe, countries like the Philippines had to shift their priorities to respond to a public health crisis brought by COVID-19. Schools had to be closed, activities had to be halted, graduation ceremonies had to be canceled, as people were urged to stay at home. A new normal dawned upon us. As soon as DepEd realized the impact of these disruptions in education, it began to proactively craft its learning continuity plan last April to ensure that learning opportunities will still be available. Consulting with partners and advisors through the Education Forum, as well as legislators, teachers, parents, learners, and the general public, DepEd made sure its LCP encompasses the concerns of the whole education sector in responding to the crisis. Its topmost priority being the protection of the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. To make informed decisions, DepEd first analyzed relevant data and epidemiological picture for the incoming school year. DepEd also issued guidelines on its required health standards to be adopted in all public and private schools and DepEd offices following DOH and IATF protocols. It covers 4 COVID-19 mitigation objectives, namely, to increase physical and mental resilience, reduce transmission, reduce contact, and reduce duration of infection. The LCP also outlined how learning continuity will be ensured. It streamlines the K-12 curriculum into the most essential learning competencies and allows the use of distance learning, homeschooling, and blended learning modalities. Since conducting face-to-face classes will be a risk in most areas, DepEd has anchored its delivery of education to modular, online, TV and radio, or a combination of all. Guided by teachers, modular learning will allow learners to use self-learning modules in a format applicable to learners' capacity. In online distance learning, teachers will facilitate and engage learners' participation through the internet, whether synchronous or asynchronous. TV and radio-based instructions, on the other hand, are converted lessons fit for the broadcast medium. The LCP assures that all our learners, including our SPED, ALS, Madrasa students, can still access education even within the confines of their homes, and ensures that their household capacity will not hinder their right to education. To make this possible, our joint Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela is assisting the preparations for the rollout of the LCP. On May 8, the LCP was approved by the IATF. The President also gave it his full support and expressed his commitment to meeting the financial demands of its execution. The implementation of the LCP will not be easy. It is not a perfect plan, and complications can be expected along the way. But extraordinary times call for extraordinary and proactive measures, and the Department of Education is ready to address the challenges along the way with the help of our national and local government, partners, parents, and learners. As one nation, learning opportunities shall be available in this brave new world for our Filipino children.
When you need the focus to be on you and not whatever that guy's doing, open Teams.
Sisisihan namin ang buong komunidad niya! Subukan mo! Tutal nawasak na naman namin ang lahat ng ari-arian niyo!
Sa totoong buhay, totoo ang pinsala ng giyera. Mula noon hanggang ngayon. Para limitahan ang kalupitan ng giyera, nagkaisa ang mga bansa 70 taon na ang nakalipas upang itaguyod ang Geneva Conventions. Ang Geneva Conventions ay kinikilala ng buong mundo bilang bahagi ng international humanitarian law na nagtatakda ng mga patakaran ng giyera o the rules of war. Ayon dito, huwag gawing target ang mga sibilyan at kanilang mga ari-arian. Tratuhin sa makataong paraan ang mga nabilanggo at protektahan ng mga doktor, nurse at mga ospital para paglingkuran ang mga sugatan at may sakit saan man panig sila nagmula. Alamin ang Geneva Conventions. Bisitahin ang www.therulesofwar.org.
Hi guys! So I just came from a meeting and I was just told that I would be leading this fundraising concert for International Students Day. And I have to present the plan to the school board next week. Okay, I'm going to need some help. Let me create a team space and invite my dream team. Sia, she knows all about the budgeting and stuff. Ivan, he knows all the kids from the performing arts group. Aisha, she worked on getting sponsorship last year. And Sam, because he's so cute. Let me lay out all tasks in Planner and kick things off. So, I'm almost done with my event concept and inspiration board. I just need Ivan to do some final tweaks and plug in the repertoire. Budget from Sia? Check. Sponsorship plan? Check. Done! Whew! When you start using Microsoft Teams, teamwork really does become easier. So now I'm heading over to present the plan to the school board. Wish me luck!
De Luna,
Present!
Herrera,
Present!
Valera.
Present!
Handa ba tayo sa school year 2020?
Present!
Ngayong taon, ang edukasyon tuloy pa rin. Sa tulong ng DepEd, mga guro at mga magulang, ang handang isip, handa bukas. Tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aaral. May mga modules para sa iba't ibang antas. Sa government TV, maging sa radyo. Mahalagang ligtas ang ating mga estudyante at guro. Kaya kahit nasa bahay, tuloy ang edukasyon. Kung tulong-tulong, may paraan, may aralan. Handang isip, handa bukas. Bisitahin ang DepEd Philippines sa Facebook at ang deped.gov.ph.
If you spend more time tracking down files than actually working on them, open Teams.
The COVID-19 pandemic has brought unprecedented changes to our usual ways of living. But the Department of Education remains unfazed by these challenges to fulfill the mission of Sulong Edukalidad, the rallying call for national effort to deliver quality basic education to all Filipinos, which involve aggressive reforms in the 4 key areas: the K-12 curriculum review and update, improving the learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration to move forward together as we prepare the education system for the future. The call for Sulong Edukalidad will continue built the framework of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or the BELCP, to put the needs of the learners at top priority. DepEd's BELCP is the major response and commitment to protect the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. The plan aims to provide opportunities to continue education even in these trying times with a BELCP in place, supported by an unprecedented number of diverse stakeholders from the academe, media, industry groups, NGOs, business and private individuals. Sulong Edukalidad will be able to sustain the aims in its reform for quality basic education. In our journey towards quality education, we have established the 4 pillars of aggressive reforms from the start, and we have been continuing to progress in these pillars. In improving the learning environment, we took action in the construction and rehabilitation of school buildings, ensured the availability of learning materials and equipment, and prioritized our last mile schools. The challenges of the pandemic also brought to light the urgent need to upgrade our ICT infrastructure to service the needs of education. In terms of the teachers' upskilling and reskilling, we were able to establish more innovative professional standards for teachers and school heads. We have aligned the professional development of teachers with their career progression to track their development as part of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines transformation. With the launch of the Education Futures program, where we will be focusing on innovative actions and solutions to improve the state of our education, we are now more than ready to start a new journey and continue our fight for quality education for all Filipino learners. Finally, we've given high importance to the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. In support of this, we have convened the Philippine Forum for Accessible Quality Basic Education, or the Education Forum, which will leverage other partnerships for education quality and strengthen partnership with the Philippine Normal University as the country's national center for teacher education. The department has also been developing a professional development program for teachers and school leaders in order to equip them with the skills, materials, and data that will allow them to help their students prepare for PISA 2022. This intervention consists of the following components: online training for teachers and school leaders, development of learning materials and practice tests for students, deepening the analysis of the PISA 2018 results, and supporting school-level action research. Now that the year is about to end, our commitment to Sulong Edukalidad will continue and will be far from being gone. With a lot at stake, considering our new knowledge and experience from this year's challenges, we are equipped to face a new future. As we head on to the future where we will face many challenges and uncertainties, the department will always be the guardian of every Filipino learner's right to education.
Sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap? Opisyal na nilulunsad ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pangunguna ng Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction ang DepEd Teaches. Ito ay isang online na programa na gagabay sa mga guro, tagapangasiwa, magulang at mag-aaral hinggil sa mga pagbabago sa batayang edukasyon ngayong new normal. Ang DepEd Teaches ay angkla sa sulong edukalidad na nakatuon sa 4 na pangunahing pangangailangan ng mapunyaging reforma tungo sa makalidad na pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Una, pagre-review at pagsasapanahon ng kurikulum ng K-12. Ikalawa, pagpapaunlad ng kapaligiran pampagkatuto. Ikatlo, paglinang ng mga bagong kasanayan sa mga guro. At ang ikaapat, ang pakikipag-ugnay sa mga stakeholder para sa suporta at kolaborasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng virtual learning platform, ang DepEd Teaches ang magsisilbing bukas na komunidad ng pagsasanay na titipon sa mga guro, tagapamunong pang-edukasyon at sa sinumang may pagnanais sa pagtataguyod ng kalidad na edukasyon sa bansa at sa pagtagumpay ng bawat Pilipinong mag-aaral. Ang mga opisyal, education specialist, learning content expert at outstanding teacher ng DepEd ang magiging tagapanayam na magbabahagi ng kanilang kaalaman at kasanayan sa kurikulum, pagtuturo at pagkatuto, pagtataya at lahat ng kaugnay na mahalaga sa proseso ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa new normal. Bilang mga frontliner ng classroom, inaasahang magiging aktibo ang mga guro sa programang ito. Ang mga tema at paksa ay angkop sa kanilang pangangailangan at konteksto sa pamamagitan ng accessible na platform, ang social media. Sumali na sa OUCI family sa DepEd Teaches, kung sama-sama mapahuhusay pa ang mga guro, kung sama-sama higit na malilinang natin ang mga mag-aaral.
A wonderful afternoon, everyone. We are delighted to see you once again here in our official Facebook pages, the DepEd Teaches, DepEd Philippines, DepEd Tayo, and as well as in our DepEd YouTube channel. We hope that it has been part of our weekly routine to join us here as we listen to various presentations that allow us to enrich our knowledge on curriculum, learning delivery, and assessment at our most convenient time. And speaking of time, tomorrow we will be commemorating the 35th anniversary of the EDSA People Power Revolution, which is a special non-working holiday. Hence, we advance today our episode 10 live streaming. Good afternoon, Ma'am Anna. How are you today and what's your plan for tomorrow?
Okay, so blessed afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, we pray and we hope that you and your loved ones are safe right now because this past few days, we just experienced the tropical storm Aurin. Again, it's nice to see you, dear teachers, here in DepEd Teaches. Good afternoon, Sir July. Well, you asked me about my plan tomorrow since it's going to be holiday. As we all know, it's not yet safe to gallivant in public places, so it's better just to stay at home and do something productive. You know, learning new things should be an everyday goal because for me, a good day is like made up of doing small yet meaningful tasks. And these small tasks become part of a bigger plan, of a bigger picture. Just like what DepEd Teaches is trying to offer to us. We have short episodes, but if you make it a habit to watch DepEd Teaches, rain or shine, little by little, you are nourishing your mind, broadening your perspectives, and increasing your knowledge on learning and management through the lens of our renowned and outstanding resource persons.
I agree, Miss Anna. And because with good habits, of learning new things, this can improve our self-discipline. And in the new normal, it has been a daunting challenge on how teachers and more importantly, the parents and learning facilitators can manage the behavior of our learners doing the distance learning. For instance, how can we motivate our learners to continue their studies with minimal supervision? Another common concern is that how can we make sure that our child or our learners is completing the modules truthfully? Or how can we make sure that our learner is observing proper netiquettes during online classes? As parent and as teachers, what should we do?
I get your point, Sir July. It's not easy to manage people's behavior and to develop good habits. What more if you are handling a big class or if you are not physically present to oversee what they've been doing, just like our setup right now. As teachers, we must not forget one of our primary duties is to teach them good conduct and to help them practice good values. And to fulfill this role, we must become good classroom managers. But then the question, just like what you asked, how? Do we need to punish them? Do we use some rewards? So how should we discipline our learners nowadays?
That's right, Miss Anna. These are the recurring questions that we must learn and relearn on how we can manage our learners' behavior. And this is not just for newbies, but even for seasoned teachers. We probably need to unlearn some things in the past that may no longer be appropriate in managing the kind of students we have nowadays. And so for today's episode, this is very timely and relevant discussion that we will teach on how we can promote positive discipline.
So without further ado, it is our pleasure to introduce to you our resource person today. Director Gilbert T. Sadsad is a notable director of DepEd Region 5 because of his humane leadership with a keen sense of strategy and forward thinking. From 1990 as a secondary teacher to present as Director 4, he possesses decades of extensive experience in leading, developing, and implementing educational programs in the department. As a graduate of Masters in Development Management, he has led region-wide projects that have significantly impact for the workforce development in the region, to name some. He led and initiated the mobile processing of government schools permit in DepEd Region 4B. He organized the regional office of the Negros Island region in Dumaguete City. He set up regional sub-office in Bacolod City for DepEd Negros Island region. He also initiated the 333 strategy of providing services to the public in DepEd Negros Island region and DepEd Mimaropa. And he also initiated greater access to learning opportunities to schools without permit in DepEd Mimaropa.
Director Gilbert Sadsad also initiated the customer-friendly services in DepEd Bicol. He also led the spread of Smile virus in DepEd Region 5. He further advocated the new mantra of DepEd Region 5, which is DepEd Bicol cares, shares, and serves with smile. He led as well in fostering partnerships that has been a key to his leadership. Example of this innovative partnership is the implementation of Chaching Financial Literacy Program for Grade 4 learners in Region 5, thus making him a GA Philippines National Ambassador for Financial Literacy. Director Sadsad was born in the month of love, a day after Valentine's, and he is married to Vilma Halili Sadsad, and together they raised their 5 children in love and positive discipline. And so, delivering another powerful presentation today on what positive discipline is all about, please welcome the Regional Director of DepEd Region 5, Director Gilbert T. Sadsad.
Good day, everyone. This is Gilbert Sadsad of DepEd Region 5. Welcome to this episode assigned to me. Please relax and have fun while watching this episode. The presentation will be guided by this outline: positive approach to child discipline, meaning we will be discussing punishment versus discipline. What is positive discipline, and when is discipline considered as positive approach? Practice of positive discipline in schools, managing behavior of school children. In short, our priority concern is how to make learner behavior by applying positive and non-violent discipline to ensure learning-focused environments. Sergio Pinheiro of the UN Study on Violence Against Children once said, "No violence against children is justifiable. All violence against children is preventable." This is true. We can always prevent inflicting violence against learners in the school, particularly coming from among us teachers. We only need to know that there are other ways to instill discipline among our learners. Why positive approach to child discipline? Aside from international laws and local laws that protect children from violence, positive discipline makes children responsible and enhance acceptance of appropriate behavior without physically hurting them and their feelings. Now let's talk about punishment against discipline. Punishment is a response that is directed at the individual. It represents a desire of one person to hurt another, and it is an expression of hostility rather than corrective love. While discipline is directed at the objectionable behavior, and the child will accept its consequence without resentment. One of the many ways of punishment given to the children is corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is any punishment in which physical, non-physical force and other forms are or is used intended to cause some degree of pain or discomfort, however light. What are the forms? We have physical and non-physical. Now, let me tell you history of the baby boomers. Most of us who belong to the baby boomers generation suffered a lot from corporal punishment imposed by our parents and by school authorities. We thought it was right to use corporal punishment because we were used to it. School officials did the same and teachers to us. I am saying this based from my experience. Again, that was long time ago. Now the millennials are lucky because of the many laws that protect them. Physical form of punishment. We have kicking, shaking or throwing children. Probably this is not in the school. Scratching, pinching, very often in the school. Biting, pulling hair or boxing ears, forcing children to stay in uncomfortable position, probably very visible in some schools. Burning, forced ingestion, hitting, smacking, slapping, spanking, spanking children with a hand or with an implement, such as a whip, a stick, belt, shoe, wooden spoon, hanger. Then how about non-physical form of punishment? We have belittles. What is belittle? Belittles means to put down or to make another person feel as they are not important. Saying mean things about another person literally makes them feel little. Humiliate is making someone feel ashamed or foolish by injuring their dignity and self-respect, especially publicly. Denigrates mean to sully or defame someone's reputation or to spread negative or hurtful information about a person. Another is scolding. Scolding meaning to speak angrily or critical way to someone who has done something wrong. It is an angry rebuke or reprimand. Scapegoats. Scapegoating is the practice or singling out a person or group of persons for unmerited blame and consequent negative treatment. We also have threatens. Threaten is an expression of one's intention to harm. Then scares. Scare would mean to cause great fear or nervousness. Then ridicules the child, meaning to make fun of someone, to laugh at someone who erred. What are the effects of corporal punishment? One, creates fear in the child. Possible outcome is to drop from the school. Another is engenders feelings of confusion, resentment, and anger. There is a possibility that the child would become lonely and the tendency is to isolate. Next is lowers the child's self-esteem. Lowers the child's self-esteem, meaning self-confidence become low and withdrawal from the group. Engenders a more external locus of control. The result would be blaming others, including the teachers, which will become prevalent in the behavior of the child. Then carries a strong potential for escalation. This would mean that there will be increase in the intensity or seriousness of anger of the child or behavior against other people. Next, trains child to use violence, perpetuates the cycle of violence within the families. This would mean that children would become haters and bullies. Another is associated with more behavioral problems. Escalation of more and conflicting behavioral problems will happen. Then adversely affects the child's cognitive functioning. This means that the internal locus of control of the child will be affected. Neglect or abandon studying their lessons, withdrawal from active participation in class discussion will be the end result. Stunts internalization of moral values and capacity for empathy. This would prevent internalization or appreciation of good moral values, and the tendency to reject appreciation to the goodness of other children. Next question is, when is discipline considered harmful or abusive? It may be worse to give bigger punishment to a simple infraction. Why? Because the discipline act is not commensurate to the offense committed by the child. The discipline act is used frequently and without valid reason. This may become a habit for teachers to punish children for every mistake or even without mistake. It is not appropriate to age. The punishment may not be appropriate to age, gender, physical, and mental state of the child. The punishment may result to child abuse and will hurt the child not only physically, emotionally, but including her mental state. Another is the discipline act is done due to impulsive anger with the purpose of hurting the child. Punishment may destroy the child's future and his person as a whole. Next is child sustains physical or non-physical injuries and is in pain, especially the vulnerable parts of the body. This would mean that both physical and emotional and mental will be affected with the discipline that we will give, particularly punishment. If it humiliates the person of the child, this becomes harmful. Positive discipline is about finding long-term solutions that develop students' own self-discipline. In short, it trains the child to discover the right behavior to a problem demonstrated. The child is also trained to value oneself and to improve the level of maturity. Another is clear and consistent communication. In short, there should be open and constant communication. Consistent reinforcement of your expectations, rules, and limits. There is consistent reinforcement, there is reorientation of rules, and clarification of limits when you give positive discipline. Next is based on knowing your students and being fair. Knowing more about your learners and to improve practice of fairness from among your learners. Another is positive discipline is aimed at building mutually respectful relationship with your students. In short, teachers should practice or positive discipline, practice the respect, that saying of respect begets respect. Once you respect other people, you will also gain respect. Then positive discipline is teaching students lifelong skills and fostering their love of learning. This will inspire students to embrace schooling and their love for learning. Teaching courtesy, nonviolence, empathy, self-respect, and respect for others and their rights is another way of positive discipline. This means that we develop learners' appreciation with other people and increasing students' competence and confidence to handle academic challenges and difficult situations. With this positive discipline, we are making the students academically and emotionally mature. When is discipline considered as positive approach? One does not mean punishment or conflict between parents and child. When you give discipline, for as long as this will not hurt the child, this would mean the relationship between parents and child will not be affected. Instead, love and respect will flourish. Another is discipline being considered as positive approach. It means helping child learn from mistakes and develop self-control. All children need the security that comes with knowing the rules and boundaries of behavior. Without these guidelines, they will feel at a loss. To sum this up, this disciplinary approach trains children to be responsible citizens. Then, requires flexibility from the parents using different strategies to match child's growth and development. Parents can explore more strategies and approaches in helping children to grow and develop positively. When is discipline considered as positive approach? Building a mutually respectful relationship with students and among students. This would mean enhancing peer relationship. So the child, there is that feeling of belongingness between and among the children. Next is consistent. Consistent in clear communication, then consistent in providing reinforcement of expectations, agreements, or rules. Then we should always be bounded by the child and human rights-based policies. Another is intention to safeguard the rights of children and to practice stops, looks, and listen. Positive discipline as one of the approaches is part of an education process. It means learning every day is in every cycle of learning. You always learn from the disciplinary action given to you. It is a way of thinking and an approach to teaching that helps children develop. Develop what? Appropriate thinking and behavior in the short and long term. Develop self-discipline and confidence. It also guides children to be in harmony with self and others. It teaches lifelong skills and values and builds a culture of respect for human rights. The practice of positive discipline in schools. The practice should be anchored on child's rights, principles, and pedagogical principles where long-term goals are set and identified. There should be an environment of kindness, enthusiastic, and comfort. Support system and child-friendly structure be set up. The school community should have knowledge of child development and full recognition of individual differences. With this, positive discipline will be visible in problem solving and in responding the problems. Positive discipline guidelines. 1. Set guidelines with clear expectations by establishing clearly your expectations. Students need clear guidelines and expectations or unexpressed expectations. Explain the reasons for the rules. Students need to know the reasons behind every rule or policy. Teach the children about the effects of their action, providing information on how to make a good decision. This will train students to be decisive and hone their negotiation skills because of open communication, always clarify to students that in every action there is always a corresponding reaction or effect. Teach the children about the effect of their action, providing information on how to make a good decision. So the need to process information is necessary to come up with good or better decision. And next is to provide unconditional support that will help the child succeed. Embrace students with kindness, consideration, and empathy. Positive discipline guidelines. You have to stop, look, and listen. Meaning, stop for a while. Then look everyone and listen to what they say. Both sides of the situation must be considered. Be fair and flexible. There is a saying that you challenge the process, meaning you practice flexibility in fairness. Manage stress, control your anger. Positive discipline approaches must be appropriate to the emerging situation. Smile with the children. Remember that you were once a child. You also committed mistakes. Another is check the causes of that behavior. Ask yourself, why there was such behavior? What triggered the child to demonstrate that behavior? Then, take time in for regular updating and dialogue. Always greet everyone and be part of the group. Involve and immerse yourselves with the children and continue communicate. Next is administer discipline in private. What does this mean? Do not make it in public. Put yourselves in their shoes. Administer discipline firmly, thoroughly, and with consistency. How do positive approach to child discipline be practiced in school? Let's see what are the behaviors of children ages 4 to 6 years old. 1. Young learners get bored easily. So their span of attention is very short. Young learners are meaning-oriented. Little children would always and continue ask a lot of questions. Young learners like to discover things. In short, curiosity overload. They prefer concrete activities. This means they want to see and feel things. Another is they are more egocentric. What does this mean? Think always about oneself without regards to the feeling of or desires of others. In other words, these children are self-centered. Another characteristic is that they are imaginative, meaning most of these children are creative and fantastic. And number 7, characteristics, they imitate or model or copy someone they admire. That's why there is a saying, what the old people are doing are always correct in the eyes of the children. So what are the learning points? Positive approaches to child discipline as an alternative way of responding to various behavior of the pupil greatly influence the progressive and holistic growth and development of the child. Another is it can help the pupil achieve his/her potential skills. It likewise creates an attitude of optimism towards life and its environment. Teachers and school personnel who are prime movers of positive approach to child discipline contribute immensely to the total personality of the pupil as part of the school community. Most importantly, through the practice of positive approaches in disciplining, the child will live in a safe, sound, and violence-free school environment. Another is children gain successful and progressive learning outcomes through safe learning environment. That's why we advocate safe or child-friendly school. Children develop their skills and talents with the help of the positive attitude of their teachers. The more that they will be inspired if their teachers are positive and supportive to the children. Children are the most important part of the learning process. They need to be loved and appropriately safeguarded. That's why we need to protect every child in the school. We need to embrace them with consideration and kindness. Another is teachers are considered as facilitators of learning, not as perpetrators of violent forms of discipline. This means that teachers are considered protectors of the children in the school. School personnel are identified as one of the sources of children's support services for their growth and development. That's why teachers and non-teaching personnel and other members of the organization in the school must support each other, must help each other in promoting the growth and development of the children. The next is trust and self-confidence of the children are facilitated through a positive, violence-free environment. Children will always trust the school if they feel they are safe. Then let's go to managing behavior of students ages 7 to 12 years old. Here are some characteristics of learners ages 7 to 12. 1. Enormous curiosity and delight in discovery. In short, curiosity of these children, of these students becomes bigger and even wider. Next is increased awareness of themselves, more sensitive to others. Meaning, they are now aware about their classmate, about their gender, and other practices in the school. Children may be moody, but less likely to direct negative feelings toward others. Another is more outgoing, curious, and talkative. This kind of learners, we consider them, they are socially active. Then, in this stage, children are adapting to the school environment and are sensitive about being punished when making mistakes. That's why we said we don't need to give them punishment, but positive discipline because of their sensitivity. Another characteristic of learners whose age belong to 7 to 12 is that often when this happens, they tend to withdraw and feel insecure. That's why we need to support this group of learners, because when they feel to be isolated or being harassed or being hurt, they will withdraw. Next is they may show reduced interest and motivation to study, and they may even start to dislike going to schools. And this is one of the many reasons why dropout increases and why many would go to the alternative learning system, because their motivation is low, their interest is also low. Similarly, during this period of growth, children are still adaptable. Good habits such as studying or helping with the housework can still be considered and developed at this time through positive reinforcement. So the more that we provide assistance to these children, the more that they will embrace schooling and they will be active in the school. The feeling of being good at something is very important for children. If children believe they consistently fail to meet adult expectations, they may develop an inferiority conflict, and which we don't want this to happen. We want every child to have self-confidence. Another characteristics of learners ages 7 to 12, children at this stage are in need of support and encouragement. They begin to establish social skills, thus peer relationships are critical. On the other hand, they can clearly distinguish between shared and private life and develop a need for their own privacy. So if you will notice, most of the children whose age are 7 to 12 are very active socially, and they have a lot of friends because they build relationship. They start building relationship. And another is, in the process, they become aware that certain people, such as teachers and parents, among others, have responsibility for or power over them. Okay? What are the learning points for these children or learners ages 7 to 12? Children learn from the consequences of their behaviors. They can already recognize what are the effects of doing such behaviors. Thus, a sense of responsibility among our students must be developed. Next, students' awareness of school policies is essential. So, the continuous orientation on school policies is necessary so that this group of children will be aware of what the school is implementing. Then physical and moral degradation adversely affects the child's well-being. It also deprives the child of many of her rights. Another learning point is that teacher-parent communication must be enhanced. The need to have an open line of communication between teacher and parent must be established. Because most of the times, if we don't have that line of communication, we cannot detect that there is a problem on the behavior of our learners. Encouragement and support go a very long way in boosting the motivation of students to study and become respectful and responsible. So continue to support them and encourage them for them to be active in school and to embrace learning behavior of students above 12 to 18 years old. Here are some of the characteristics of teenagers. Teenage life is the most critical stage of an individual. I strongly agree, and you should strongly agree, because they are now in the transition for a child to become an adult. Children from 12 to under 18 years old become more emotionally charged due to hormonal imbalance. They tend to be enthusiastic but easily discouraged. In short, hormonal imbalance affects behavior of the children and even emotion. We've seen that in our own children. Peers are very important. They may even influence the development and behavior of their peers or more than parents and teachers at this stage. That's why you will notice among our children, you will see them, they have their friends. They are always with their close friends. And because peer is important. Children at this stage may experience confusion over what adult roles should be. Why? Because we always consider, we parents and teachers consider these children at this age like an adult. That's why confusion grew from among these teenagers. They seek self-expression and identity. As they grow, as they become teenager, they are already expressive and showing to us who they are. Another learning point is that humiliation is intimidating and does not produce favorable results on both student and the teacher. The possibility to resist and further repeat similar behavior is high. Even as humiliation will not help. No one will ever realize mistakes when being put to shame. So we have to avoid that. Public humiliation and ridicule is not good. Finding the right time and place for a heart-to-heart talk or time in would be effective. That's why I encourage everyone, please talk to your children, talk to your students. They need a listening ears for them to air their problems and probably their curiosity and confusions. A child would be discouraged and may no longer attend classes if threatened. This is very true. This always happened in many schools. Next is genuine encouraging words would help students to double their efforts. That's why I encourage our teachers and other people who supervise and manage children to give them encouraging words, truthful words, because with our encouragement, they will continue to make a lot of efforts to achieve their goals. Giving options would answer, direct and guide students to make up for their loss or losses. So, always provide options. Communication, decision-making, harmonious relationship, and skills and solving problems should be developed between teachers and students. I strongly agree that constant communication and helping or sharing participation in decision-making and having harmonious relationship will achieve a better behavior of students and also teachers. Threat is a form of corporal punishment which does not yield positive results. Finding out the cause of the behavior and providing options would help ensure favorable solutions. So it's a big no-no to threaten our learners or our students for something that they failed to do, like assignment. Let's encourage rather than threaten them to be failed. Another important learning point here is for all of us to conduct home visitation to better understand the student situation, establish rapport with parents. This will help a lot when the teacher and the parents have better rapport and when you understand where the student live and what is the situation of the family of the learners. We need to understand where they come from. Then it is important to note that during this stage, their behavior serves to test out boundaries with people in authority, such as parents, teachers, and caregivers. Parents and adults should help the children define their goals and objectives and assist them in determining directions and positions in life. Another is children should develop the value of honesty, humility, and sense of responsibility. They can always grasp this or adopt these values if all of us will demonstrate to our children. To conclude, my dear teachers, it is not enough that we are aware of all the laws concerning offenses on child abuse and definition of positive approaches to child discipline. The most important is we should know how to apply this information and positive approaches in child discipline in real life at home, in school, particularly in teaching and in disciplining our students. So in short, application of these laws and approaches properly from among our students. Another conclusion is that we adults should be the model to foster harmonious relationship, and we should be able to inspire our students to value education and develop their potential to the fullest. As one leader said, if you want to be effective, you have to model the way. So if you want them to practice the values that you want them to acquire, then demonstrate and show them what that values that you practice. My dear friends, let me give you this quote from Gecko and Fly about positive parenting. It says, to be in your children's memories tomorrow, you have to be in their lives today. Be with your children, be with your students, enjoy teaching with them, enjoy playing with them, enjoy with them every day, because the influence of teachers is eternal. In closing, let me also give this quote from Dr. Jane Nelson, which states, positive discipline is based on maintaining dignity and respect by using kindness and firmness at the same time. Thank you very much. A wonderful day to one and all. Diyos mabalos sa indugabos, and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you so much, Director Sadsad, for a very smooth and fairly comprehensive presentation that highlights the importance and guidelines on how to promote positive discipline to our learners. I am confident that our viewers have appreciated the learning points you raised. And so, to our viewers, we are very much eager to know your thoughts and insight in today's episode. You can post in your FB page on what you have learned today and how this can translate into action considering the delivery modality we are adapting right now. Just use the hashtag #ISupportDepEdTeaches and hashtag DepEdTeaches episode 10. At this point, we will be giving perhaps exit card or exit assessment to our live viewers. We request our viewers to kindly answer these two questions in the comment section of our Facebook live streaming. For our first question, what is your key takeaway in today's episode? Again, what is your key takeaway in today's episode? So we are trying to reach out to more people when we share good things in our personal Facebook page, like what we have learned today. Just use the hashtag #ISupportDepEdTeaches and DepEd Teaches episode 10. So again, the first question is, what is your key takeaway in today's episode? How about you, Ma'am Ana? What is our second question?
All right. So thank you, Sir July. And again, thank you so much to our Resource Person Director Sadsad for a very timely presentation. I'm sure that it is not just the teachers who benefited from this topic, but even more so with our parents who are our solid partners in molding our learners to be mature and responsible. And so just like what you said, Sir July, learning doesn't stop here. So you can share your insights in today's topic by answering the second question. Give one example on how you can promote positive discipline among your learners based on the learning delivery modality you are adopting right now. So when you answer, you can join us in the comment section or you can go to your personal Facebook page and share a post about your answer in these two questions. Let me just repeat. Question 1, what is your key takeaway? And question 2, give one example on how you promote positive discipline based on your context. So we will try our best to read your answers next week, and we encourage you to actively participate in our discussion. Again, just use the hashtag I support DepEd Teaches, hashtag DepEd Teaches, episode 10.
Just before we end, we have few announcements. For episodes 8 to 10, we will have only single registration and single evaluation. Our evaluation now is open that covers all episodes under the theme, the learner and his learning environment. And the evaluation link is shown now in your screen. And this is open until Friday midnight. For you to receive your certificates of appearance and participation, you must complete the registration and scored at least 75% in the evaluation. Again, you need to score at least 75% in the evaluation for you to receive your certificate of appearance and certificate of participation. Let us help each other to share the good things we have been learning here in DepEd Teaches. And so, we will never stop reminding you to like, follow, and share our Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you once again next week.
On behalf of the Curriculum and Instruction, it has been a pleasure to offer you with another positive learning experience only here in DepEd Teaches. For our mission is empowering teachers, enabling learners. Good day, everyone.